Welcome back to another crochet tutorial with Cozy Rosie UK, and today I am showing you how to make your very own octagon pinwheel square. A bit of an oxymoron, I feel like. We're saying that it's going to be an octagon, a square, who knows what it is, but I am super happy with how this square turns out, and I know that you're absolutely going to love it. Now, before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and of course the notification bell so that you never miss out another one of my crochet tutorials again. This square is being released as part of the Hodgepodge blanket crochet along. If you've missed any of the other squares that are featured in this event, you can find a link in the description box that will take you through to the roundup of all 30 squares as they are released, and you can pick and choose which ones you want to make. There's lots of different granny squares there for you to choose from. You'll also find a link in the description box that will take you through to the written pattern for this exact square as well. Let's find out the materials we need to make our very own octagon pinwheel. So the materials you're going to need to make your own octagon pinwheel square is any worsted or Aran weight yarn. I'm using my PaintBox Yarns Simply Aran. This is a size 4 and my favourite shade, the bubblegum pink, which is shade number 250. I've got my 5mm streamline, wooden streamline from Furls that I'm going to be using, which corresponds as the recommended hook size for this yarn. I've also got my darning needle and a pair of scissors ready to crack on with this square. Now, we don't need an awful lot of material with this square. I think it's about 55 meters, which really isn't very much at all, and it's quite a quick one to do as well. So gather all of your materials and let's get started. So we're going to start by making a slip knot and placing that onto our hook. Once that's secure, we're going to start by making a chain of 5. So we yarn over the hook and bring that through 5 times, 3, 4 and 5. And we're going to slip stitch to that first chain that we made, by just inserting our hook under one of those loops, yarning over, pull through and straight through the loop on your hook. And that's going to create a little ring for us to work into. In case you can see that top where we've just slip stitched, you have to try and ignore that one. We're going for that bigger hole in the middle. We then make a chain of 6. Now this chain 6 counts as a treble crochet and a chain 2. Now that's a US treble crochet, which is the same as a UK double treble. So we chain 6, so we yarn over and bring our hook through the loop on our hook 6 times. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and then we're going to work into the center of this ring by working a treble crochet and a chain 2. So a US treble crochet or a UK double crochet, you wrap the yarn around the hook twice, and then we're going to insert our hook into the center of that ring. So underneath that top hole, we're going into the center. We yarn over to bring our loop up, so we now have 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the next 2, and then finally yarn over and pull through the last 2. We then make our chain of 2, and then that corresponds to that starting chain of 6 that we made. So we end up with 8 of these treble crochets, or the equivalent. So we wrap the yarn around the hook twice, insert the hook into that center of that ring again, yarn over to bring up our 4th loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the next 2, and then finally yarn over and pull through the last 2, followed by a chain of 2. We're wrapping the yarn around that hook twice, insert the hook and repeat that US treble crochet again, followed by a chain 2. So we now have 1, 2, 3, 4. We need another 4. So we need to do our chain of 2, and then we're ready to do our next treble crochet. Followed by a chain 2 again. And then we're just going to repeat that all the way around until we have 8 of those treble crochets coming out of the center. Chain 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we need 2 more. this is the final one, I think. Chain 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Done our chain 2, and then we're going to slip stitch to join this round into the 4th chain that we made. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, leaving that chain 2 space. So we're just going to insert our hook under 2 loops of that 4th chain to slip stitch to join, and that creates our pinwheel. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So we have 8 treble crochets and 8 chain 2 spaces in between them. If you want, you can pull your center closed if you've worked around your strand of yarn, which I thought I had. Oh, I had, there we go. And that will close the center of that ring and make it look a little bit more circular. So going into round 2, we're going to slip stitch into that chain 2 space so that we're ready to start the next round. So once we've slip stitched into that chain 2 space, we start by making a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4, and that counts as 1 treble crochet. Once we've made our chain 4, we're going to work a further 4 treble crochets into that same chain 2 space. So we wrap the yarn around the hook twice, insert our hook into the same space that chain 2 is coming out of, chain 4 is coming out of, and then work our US treble crochet by yarning over and pulling through 3 times. And we do that so we end up with a total of 5 treble crochets coming out. So 3 more times from here. And a final time. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. We're then going to make a chain of 2, and then into each of these spaces around we're going to work 5 treble crochets. So wrap the yarn around the hook twice and insert before completing that treble crochet. We're going to do this into each of these spaces around, and in between each of those 5 treble crochets we're going to work a chain of 2 to create another chain space. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we do our chain of 2. So continue to repeat that all the way around, working 5 treble crochets, US treble crochets, into that chain 2 space, followed by a chain of 2, and I'll meet you back in our last, I want to say pie slice, because it does look a little bit like a Trivial Pursuit pie, doesn't it? So you continue to work all the way around to complete round 2, and I'll meet you ready to join. Once you've worked your 8th block of 5 treble crochets and you've done your final chain 2, we're going to slip stitch to the top of that starting chain of 4 that we made to join that round, and that completes round 2. So at the end of round 2 you should have a total of 40 treble crochets and 8 chain 2 spaces. Going into round 3, we're going to start working into our stitches. So we don't just slip stitch into anything, we've already slip stitched into this first stitch that we're working in. And we're going to start by making that chain of 4, which does count as our first treble crochet. And then we're going to work 1 treble crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. So we wrap that yarn around the hook twice, and then we're inserting our hook into that next stitch to complete a treble crochet on top of the previous round. So that's 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Now into this chain 2 space, we're going to work 1 treble crochet, a chain 2 and a further treble crochet into that same chain 2 space. We're then going to work 1 treble crochet into each of the next 5 stitches before we repeat what we've just done in the next chain 2 space. Remembering to wrap that yarn around the hook twice, work 1 treble crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. And then once we've reached our chain 2 space, we work 1 treble crochet followed by a chain of 2 and a further treble crochet into that same chain 2 space. So we're going to repeat that all the way round into each of the next 5 stitches. We're going to work 1 treble crochet followed by 1 treble crochet, chain 2 and a further treble crochet. Repeat that all the way round to the end of the round, and I'll meet you back ready to join at the end of round 3. So I'm just going to join to the top of that chain 4 that we started the round with. So at the end of round 3 you should have a total of 56 treble crochets and 8 chain 2 spaces. And I must admit, the one good thing about these treble crochets is how big they work up so quickly. We've only done 3 rounds and we've got quite a large octagon here. We're going to go into round 4, and this time we're just going to make a chain of 1. We're then going to work 1 half double crochet into the same stitch as that chain 1, because that chain 1 does not count as a stitch. We're then going to work 1 half double crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then into the next chain 2 space, we're going to work 1 half double crochet, a chain 1 followed by a double crochet, a US double crochet. We're then going into the next 2 stitches, we're going to work a double crochet, so that's 1 and 2, and then we're going to work 1 treble crochet into the next. We're then going to make a chain of 6, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. We're going to skip 1 stitch. Once we've made our chain of 6, we're going to skip 1 stitch. We've worked into that one, we're skipping this one and working into the next one, working 1 treble crochet. So believe it or not, I've only wrapped the yarn around the hook twice there. So we're skipping this one and working into the next, working 1 treble crochet. There we go. So that's given us a nice big space. Don't worry, we're going to reshape that when we do the next round. And then we come back down the stitch sizes again. So we work 1 double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. And then we work 1 double crochet into, so this is into the chain 2 space now. We work a double crochet, a chain 1 and a half double crochet. We're then going to work 1 half double crochet into each of the next 7 stitches, which will take us all the way over to our next chain 2 space, where we repeat this stitch again. So 1 half double crochet into each of the next 7, and I'll meet you for the next chain 2 space. So into our next chain 2 space, we're going to repeat what we did before. We've already had a little spy at what we're doing. We are flattening it off and creating a corner. So into this chain 2 space here, we're going to work a half double crochet followed by a chain 1. We then work 1 double crochet into the same chain 2 space, a chain 1, and then we work a double crochet into the same chain 2 space, and we're going to work 1 double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. We're then going to work 1 treble crochet into the next stitch, followed by a chain of 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. We're going to get our hook ready to work our next treble crochet. We're skipping the next stitch and working into that next one again. Ooh. Got myself confuddled and twisted here, just need to come through that. Oof, there we go. My chain got a bit out of control there. And then we come back down again in those stitch sizes. So into the next stitch we're working a double crochet, and then into our chain 2 space we work 1 double crochet, a chain 1 and another half double crochet. And we're back to the beginning of that repeat again. So we're going to do this 2 more times. Now that you've done 2 of them, can you see what's starting to happen? Or maybe you can't, but you imagine there's another corner there. So we're going to have 4 of these at the end. So what we're going to do is repeat what we've just done again twice more. So let's work those together. So we're going to work 1 half double crochet into each of the next 7 stitches. Then into the next chain 2 space, we're going to work a half double crochet, a chain 1, followed by a double crochet. We then work 1 double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, followed by a treble crochet into the next. We're then going to work a chain of 6, 5 and 6, double wrap my yarn, ready to skip the next stitch and work a treble crochet into the next one along. I'm going to not make that mistake again, tidy it up before I go. There we go. We then work back down again, so we're working a double crochet into the next 2. Into that next chain 2 space, we work a double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet into that same chain 2 space. And we're nearly there. Just got 1 more repeat to do. So we start by making 1 half double crochet into each of the next 7 stitches. So once we've worked those 7 half double crochets into the chain 2 space, we work 1 half double crochet, a chain 1, followed by a double crochet, 1 double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, followed by a treble crochet. We're then going to make our chain of 6, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to double wrap my hook ready. Have I got 2 on there? Nope. Ready to work. I'm going to skip that next one, working into the next with a treble crochet, and we come back down for a final time. So 1 double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, into that final chain 2 space, 1 double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet. Then we just need to work 1 double crochet into the top of that last stitch, sorry. And then we're ready to slip stitch to join to end round 4. So let's have a little look to see what we've made so far. Well, that's looking decidedly more square, is it not? So we only have 1 more round to go, believe it or not. And we're going to start our round 5 with a chain of 1. And what we're going to work is into each stitch and each chain 1 space around, so in between these 2 here, we're going to work 1 half double crochet. So let's do that first part together. So we work 1 half double crochet into each, to the same as our chain 1, and then into each stitch around and into each chain 1 space. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Oops. Oh no, that's the chain 1 space, Fiona, is it? Yeah. And 7, and then into that chain 1 space we work another half double crochet. We're going to work 1 half double crochet into these next stitches as well. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then into our chain 6 space we're going to work 3 half double crochets. So that's 1, 2, oops, and 3, and a chain of 3, 1, 2, 3, and a further 3 half double crochets into that same chain 6 space. 2 and 3. So that's going to give us our final corner, and here's our edge here as well. So it's all looking pretty nice and square here. So we're going to continue to work around, working 1 half double crochet into each stitch and into each chain 1 space around. We're then into each of these chain 6 spaces we're going to work 3 half double crochets, chain 3, and a further 3 half double crochets. So continue to work around, and I'll meet you for our last section of our final round of round 5. So just worked 1 half double crochet into that final chain 1 space, and I have 1 more half double crochet to work until I'm back to where I started for round 5. So I'm just going to slip stitch to that first stitch that we made. And there we have our completed pinwheel square. I am a huge fan of this square. I love how quick it works up, and most definitely you're going to see this featured in a summer cardigan or two. I can assure you I'm going to make that one at the top of my list to get finished for you. So I just fastened off. I've made a little chain 1. I have pulled that through with my hook, and that completes the Octagon pinwheel square. So the stitch count for row 5, in case you needed to know, I'm just assuming I've got mine correct, is going to be 100 half double crochets and 4 chain 3 spaces. I really hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I've certainly enjoyed designing this square. I'm going to be back with you tomorrow with another of our granny squares as part of the Hodgepodge blanket crochet along. Until then, keep it cozy.